Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the best practices to use when you're using Google. So these are going to be some tips and tricks and ideas on on good practices to use when you're using Google Meets, when you're using Google Drives, when you're using Jamboard. Some ways to do that, and also Google Classroom. So first we're going to talk about Google Meets. So here are some tips. We want to make sure that we're turning off quick access to ideas like sharing screens and the chat feature. We also want to use the Q&A and polling feature. And we also want to make sure that we are the first ones into the Google Meet and the last one out. And we want to make sure that our students are muted. And I'm going to show you how to do that, all of those things, if that doesn't happen. So let's go into Google Meets. I have a Google Meet set up now. And remember, when you first set up a Google Meet, you want to go into the host control features. And there's multiple ways to get to that. The first way to get to it is in this little arrow here. You want to turn when turned off, everyone who isn't invited must ask to join. So you want to turn that off, that quick access off, so that they have to ask to join. And what will happen is there's something that'll usually come up on the screen that will say to those people they have to join. Now, it's not going to happen fully with my husband because I had to invite him in because he's not in our district, but you will get a little notification up that says that. You will also see you want to turn off share their screen, and you want to turn off send chat message. You can keep those on if you want, but with the Q&A feature especially, there's almost no need for a chat message because right now you can still send a chat to the kids, but the kids can't chat back with you. So if you need to share a document or something like that, you'll still have that ability. They just can't chat with each other, which has some advantages. So you can get to those by this little arrow here, but you can also get to them by going to the host control features here, so that there are multiple ways to get to them. Now, my husband should be joining us in a second, and you'll see him sort of come in, and then I'll show you some of the other features that you have the ability to use when you have students. So my husband is joining. He's now in the meeting. And what we're going to see is that you can use some of these nice features when you're in here. So one of the ones that is really good to use with your students is the Q&A. So you can click on the Q&A and you can ask a question. So now my husband's going to ask a question. And what's going to happen is on the side here, you're going to see that it shows his name. It shows the exact time he asked the question. So it's not like the kids aren't communicating with you. They are. You're getting their little information. But what's nice is the kids will be able to upvote it if they want. And then you have the ability to mark as hidden. So you don't want to show that. Or the question's hidden, like it comes through and you're like, I don't want to show that. Or you can mark as done. So like I might say, oh, Joe, my favorite color is blue. And then I can mark it as done so I know that that's there. You can also look at the class questions by the newest first or the most popular. So if somebody has upvoted your thing, that would show up first in there. So we have the Q&A feature, which is awesome. And the Q&A feature can be accessed through either the host, this area over here where you have the Q&A and the polls, or through this little, now they keep changing this, activities area, which has different things. So we also have polls. So you could start a poll and you could say, what is your favorite color? If I can spell your right. And color. Blue and red, let's see. And then I can hit launch, and then what should happen is the students would be able to vote. So my husband could go in and vote, and he'd say blue, and then you would see You could do that. Now you could show everybody the results, or you could show nobody the results. So what's going to happen is my husband would be able to see on his side the results of the poll. So we do have the idea to have the poll. And then remember, we also have the breakout rooms. So we can create small rooms and we can do shuffle. Now I've made videos on how to do this, so I'm not going to go through breakout rooms fully with you guys, but I want you to know that, the controls are still there for you. And you can get them through the activities area over there. So another best practice is to make sure your person is muted. Now, my husband is muted right now, but if he were not muted, I could click on him. So Joe, can you unmute for me for a second? So what you can see is, sorry about that. Because we're so close, there was an echo. But as you see, if I clicked on him, I could have the ability to mute him or to unmute him. I can even hide him, so I'm not fully seeing him if there are a lot of participants. And I can remove him. So when you click on the participant, you have the ability to do all of those things. Like I can pin him so that he's the one that is sitting on the screen. I can mute him. He's muted now. And I can remove him from the meeting. So say the meeting ends. We're at the end of the meeting. You need to go to your next class. The kid went to the bathroom, didn't remove themselves. I can click here and remove the person from the meeting, which is what I'm going to do to Joe now. So I'm removing him and then he's gone. So you want to do this at the end of every meeting. You want to remove them from the meeting to make sure that everybody is out of the meeting before you close it down. And that way, no one can come back in and use it again. So those are some best practices related to Google Meets. Now we're going to talk about some best practices related to Jamboard. So we can get to Jamboard from a number of different ways. And I'll show you how to get to it in Meets in a second. But you need to remember that on your school computer is a touch screen. We can flip that touch screen over. You can actually flip your computer and make your touch screen so use it. Like you can write on it. You can use a stylus. You can do some really cool things because we have a touch screen. And you can use that touch screen with Jamboard well, and it incorporates well there. But we also need to remember some things about Jamboard, and we should remind our students of this. Jamboard, unlike some of the other tools, does not have a version history. So we need to remind students about being appropriate when they're using Jamboard, to not write anything that is inappropriate, to make sure that they are always following being their best digital citizens they can be. So we also remember to set it to view only when the activity is done. So we're going to go into Jamboard now, and I'm going to show you it around a little. So here's our Google Meet. And one of the tools in Google Meet is more options. If you click on that little part in the side here, is open a whiteboard. And I can say start a new whiteboard. And I'm going to share it with one person. And then at the beginning, or I can turn on link sharing that everybody can view. So if I want to, I can share it with my husband because he was in there. Or I can turn link sharing on that everybody can view. And so if you're doing it for a big class, you're probably going to want to turn it on that everybody can view it. So then if you see here's our Jamboard. Remember, there's the writing feature, so we can write. We can use a marker. We can use a brush. We can highlight. We can use the eraser. So if I write something now, if I was using my touch screen, it would look a lot better than that. Then if I wanted to, I could erase something. I have a select tool, so I could select things. I can put a sticky note in if I wanted. And I could hit save. So that sticky note sort of becomes like a little box. I can add an image if I wanted, and I could search for Google Images. So if I wanted an image of a dog, I can go right here and put that image in and add it right into the Jamboard. I can do a circle. I could, different tools, a circle, square, all of these. I could use a text box and put in writing. So I could say, Run, dog, run. And I can do different things. Now, something went wrong with my Jamboard, sadly, as I was writing it, but it's come back. So then what happens is, but what we want to make sure we do is when we are done with this, we want to make sure that when we're in the share features, anyone with the link can have access. We want to change the features at the end of this. So we want to make sure that it is changed so that they can view it, but they can't edit it. So right now I have it set up that way. So anyone with a link can view, but they can't edit. Now you remember, it's just sort of like the share settings that you get when you're done with, a Google Doc. We can change those. So we can go restricted, that only people added can open this link. We could make it that only people in the Verona Public Schools can be a viewer or an editor, or we can make it that anyone with the link could be a viewer or an editor. We want to make sure that when you are done with using Jamboard with your students, that you make it that they can only view, that they can't go back in and edit. And so that is done by sort of the share feature up here. So once again, we go in, we make sure that the feature is on it, that anyone with the link can be a viewer, but not edit it. And you can have multiple Jamboards here. So you can have like different ones, like 2 of 2 and certain things like that. But so those are some sort of best practices when it comes to Jamboard. And then we're going to look at the next one, which is Google Classroom tips. So Google Classroom, we want to use the Classwork feature as much as possible, because that feature is going to mean that you're not going to if you're just giving kids some work for them to do in class, but it's not going to be something that you're grading in Google Classroom, do it as classwork, because if not, what comes up is missing assignments. If you make it all as assignment and it's not something you're going to really grade as an assignment in Classroom, then you get all these things like they're missing an assignment, and the parents then start freaking out. Oh my God, what is my child missing? And really, it was just a piece of classwork. So as much as possible, you want to use that classwork feature. You also want to, there is a new feature called Check Plagiarism that'll sort of show you about. I'll also show you how to limit chatting in the Classroom stream, and I'll show you how to sort of reduce your notifications. So I'm going to bring over my Classroom. And so one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to go to Classwork. And in that Classwork is where you can create assignments, you can create materials. So really in that Classwork, we want to use materials as much as possible, because when you're creating a material, then it will show up in the stream and it won't show up as an assignment. So if I'm going to say video, and then I can put a description in here, and then I can add a link to YouTube or wherever, and maybe we're going to say dog. And then we can hit add right here. And what happens is then we are posting it to all the students, but they're not going to get a notification that this is an assignment that they have to do. We also remember one of the other features, which I should have talked to you about, is create topics. Topics are really good tools for you to use because they're going to allow you to do different things. It's going to organize things better. So if I put all my information about my ebooks in one place or how to use the library website, it searches it and makes it go in one spot. So if you look here, you'll see there's these topics over here are going to make it easier for the students when they're using their classwork. So don't use assignments if you don't have to, because it'll make things easier. Another feature that is really nice here is if you go to that little cog here, and you go down to stream, if you are worried about your students posting and commenting back and forth to each other on Classroom, because you're not going to be able to look at it only all the time, you can set the stream so that students can only the teacher can post and comment, or that students can only comment, but they can't post and make a new post. So you have the ability to control things in this stream here. And you also have the ability to show notifications that are consents or that show the entire details. And I actually like having it as show attachments and details because it makes it easier for students. You also want to make sure that you always have that Guardian summary turned on, because then parents that are part of it will get a notification. So we can hit save up here. And then what you're going to see is that, like now with the video, it shows my attachment right there. So it shows my information, my attachment, everything is right there for them in the stream. It makes it a little nicer. Now, another thing that is good is when you do use assignments, so we're going to make an assignment because I want to show you this new feature they have. So that if you were to go to assignments here and we have an assignment, you can do check plagiarism on the side. And we now have the ability for every assignment that is turned in, there is no longer because we are an enterprise group, we no longer can only do it for like 3 times. We can use it for every assignment that we have. You can check plagiarism, which makes things so nice. So you should always, whenever you're doing an assignment, hit the check plagiarism, originality report, and it will give you some more information. And we no longer now have to, only use it certain times. We can use it for all of our assignments now. So that's a really good feature too that we should be doing. Also, if you go into your main area here and you go down to the bottom into settings. So say you are a person that is in multiple classrooms, you can change your notifications. So I can get class notifications. I can turn them off. So as you see, I'm in a number of classrooms. If I don't want to get information anymore about the VHS, information, then I can get rid of it. I can turn off the ones that I no longer want to see more of by just clicking on here. And you can do stuff here, invitations sent to teachers and all of that, but you can control your settings some so that it reduces the amount of emails that you get, which makes things nice. So that's some of the features to use with Google Classroom. The next one is Google Docs. So we're going to look at a Google Doc now. And this is an untitled doc, and there's some nice features that they sort of have now. And one of those features is called the Explore feature. So if you go to Tools and you go to Explore, I love this because what happens is I can search the document in the web right here. So if I wanted dogs, okay, not only do I get information about dog life, I can get images of dogs that I can just put right into my Google Doc and it will cite it for you. And I can go to my Drive. So if there is a document or an image that might have a dog in it or the name dog at all, it will find that information there. And I can also go right to the web and find out information about dogs. So I can pull up that Wikipedia article right there and go right into it and sort of have it open for me. And if I wanted to cite as a footnote, look, right here on the side, you see where that comes up? Cite as a footnote, it puts it right in for me, the information in. The same with it would do the images too. So we have Explore is a great tool. I use it all the time, especially for images, because we also need to start to teach our kids about what are good images, what are not copyrighted images. And in the Explore feature, these are all copyright-free images. So we know that they're good images that are allowed to be used with students. So instead of them having to go Google try to have them use the web, the Explore feature in the web if they're doing a document to get those images right there. There's also some really good add-ons that you can get. So on the top here, there's add-ons. And one of them is you can go to get add-ons. And we have certain ones already, but you can get some new ones. Like there's EasyBib bibliography right there. You can make a word cloud generator right from your using a document, and you can do a word cloud generator, which is really good. You can do highlighting tools. You can do rubrics. You can do a table of contents. There's lots of great add-ons to add to your document that are going to make it a lot better for you. So I highly recommend sort of going through and looking through these add-ons too, because it can make your life a lot better. And then what you would do is once you have the add-ons, you can, click right in here and, insert the information right in. So there's some nice, tools right here for Google Docs that you can also use. Now, remember everybody, I am here to help you. So I'm here to help you, and I can also teach digital citizenship, how to be a good digital citizen to students, and digital citizenship lessons to them. So please use me. I am going to put this doc in our Wakelet. Now, if you guys have not seen the Wakelet for our district, here it is. I'm going to put a link to it again, but we have made, the tech coordinators have made a Wakelet with resources for you that you can use. And we put tutorials in there, and we have tutorials about how to use Screencastify, how to use Nearpod, how to use different Google tools, how to use Google Classroom, the Google Meet security feature, breakout rooms, ways to, all different things in here, how to use Google Forms and Jamboard and all of those, Newsella. So these are all here for you, and everything. So we will constantly, whenever I make a video, I will add it to this Wakelet for you so that you don't have to go back in your email to find things. It'll all be in one spot for you. We're also putting this on the Tech Tools website for you, the Tech Coordinators website. And, I have it linked in my Google Classroom, and I've shared it with you. So there's lots of ways to get hold of it. If you have any questions, please know that I am here to help you, and you can email me, you can call me, and I will be there to help you. I know this video is a little long, but I think, I'm hoping it will help you. Thanks.